Thanks for joining us, Kevin.
Hey, Clarissa, how are you this morning? Thanks for having me.
Wonderful.
Well, spring is here pretty much already. We're all beginning to think about our spring gardens and what we might put into our vegetable garden. And one of the things that is really difficult is when you're dealing with small seeds such as carrots, it's really hard to get them planted without them a bunch of the seeds dumping into a little cluster, and you have 15 or 20 or 30 of them all come up in one little spot, and then you have to thin them out. So I thought today I would talk a little bit about an easy way to prevent that from happening, and that is by making what is called seed tape. What seed tape is, it's basically a roll that you roll out into your garden spot. It already has the seeds put into place, and you just cover it up and water, and the seeds come up. So I'm going to show you an economical way that you can make seed tape and hopefully get yourself off to an easy start this year instead of clumping all those seeds together.
Sure, sounds fun. Let's take a look.
Well, we usually make seed tape out of little strips of paper. So there's lots of different things that you can use. You don't have to go out and buy anything special. You can use paper that you have at your house. You can use those paper towels that you see laying around. One of the things that we've even found that works pretty good is if you remember adding machines, we've got these old rolls of adding machine paper, and those work actually pretty good. So I went ahead and pre-cut some paper for us today. So I've got a sheet of paper. We cut it to about 2 to 3 inches wide. And your first thing that you're going to do, of course, is cut you some strips, decide what paper you're going to use, and then you're going to pick out your seed. I would look on the package for the directions and see how far apart it says to space the seeds. And in spinach's case, it's usually going to be about 2 to 3 inches apart. Okay. So then you would need a ruler, and you're just simply going to measure off on the paper the spacing that is on the directions on the packet of seeds. And so in this case, I went ahead and pre-marked them, and it's real easy. So the first thing I'm going to do is just open up my spinach and show you they're fairly small. They're not that large, and carrot seeds are even smaller. I mean, they're really difficult to deal with. So we've got our spinach open. We've already got our paper pre-marked, and here's what you're going to use. You're going to use just some water-soluble glue. So each one of those little marks that you made, you're just going to put a little dab of glue. And you don't have to put just a little dab, works just great. So then you're just going to sprinkle your seeds on here, and I'm going to poke them right there onto the spot. So there I have it. I've made just a little strip of seed tape. You can make these as long or as short as you want to. I tend to like to work with 1 to 2 foot sections because they're easier to grab and move around with you as you're working your way through the garden. But that's just a real simple, easy way to do that. And then after you have it made, it's important that you fold it up. You put it in a safe place for keeping. I prefer to use these little coin envelopes, and you want to make sure that you mark it. So write the name on it. In this case, we had spinach and the date. Today is the 10th, 2021. I put the date because that way, if I didn't get it planted, I always can look back to see if it's still something that's viable that I can put out there in the garden.
So what period of time do we want to wait before we do it, or can we put them straight into the ground if we're ready that day?
You could just set them aside for a little while, let them dry a little bit, and then once they're dry, you could use them even that same day, or they're good for probably the rest of the growing season. So that's a very simple, easy tool for dealing with small seeds.